football season. This is Sports Central. Alongside me, Sean, and Coach is over there with our boss, MJ McKay, the guy that is the brains behind the production today. And guys, I'm just going to cut right to it. We had an eventful weekend of football, and when I say weekend, I mean there was games on Friday too. On Saturday, excuse me. We had games on Saturday. We had games on Friday. Unfortunately, the games on Saturday weren't real good games unless you're down in Pikeville for the Pike County Bowl. But before we get into those, though, we're going to play a little college football this week. You know, you're going to wake up. Well, I wake up early. I don't know about Sean sleeps in.
No, I don't.
But
No.
I wake up. If I sleep in past 8 o'clock, I feel like I've wasted my day. So I'm an early bird, and I'm a night owl. Okay, I'll stay up till 1 or 2:30 in the morning, and I'm up at 8.
Wait till you turn 55.
I take that back. This week I didn't because I was sick, but normally that's the way I do it.
Got to be up ready for game day.
We got to be up, get ready for game day. And I like watching my full episode of College Game Day. You know, I really now it's not like what it used to be. You know, College Game Day back when I was in school, that was it.
Yeah.
You know, before they've had some personnel changes. But we got some college games, and we're going to pick some of them right now. The first game we're going to talk about, Oregon and Georgia playing that Chick-fil-A kickoff game. It's going to be played in Atlanta, which you might think, well, that's a home game for Georgia. No, they actually have to distribute the tickets evenly. And Oregon travels well. They travel well. So when you have half green, half red, of course, Georgia's coming in after winning the national championship, defeating Alabama for the first time, getting over that hump. They lost a ton defensively, Coach. Especially when you talk about the Davis guy up front. They lost their entire linebacking crew. Oregon, you should know them pretty well considering they whipped your rear end in the first 2 weeks up there at the shoe last year. So do you get a repeat? Is Oregon going to get another big early season win down in Atlanta?
I look for them to they'll probably come out strong, and they might get ahead of Georgia. But Georgia's another quick SEC team, a lot of strength, a lot of physicality. I'm still going to go with Georgia.
I am too. Yeah.
Georgia in a close one.
Oregon's notorious for coming out like gangbusters, looking real good, and then laying an egg somewhere down the line. You know, it happens every year to them in the Pac-10 or whatever it's called now. But I don't think they get out of Atlanta with the win against the Dogs.
Three Georgias. I think Georgia goes in. They take care of business. I think that they're going to try to let everybody know, hey, last year wasn't a fluke. Yes, we had the best team, but we showed we had the best team.
I think continuity of quarterback for them this year is a big key.
Yes, that's a big key.
Georgia. One of the most interesting games of the weekend, and it's just as a football fan, maybe not ranking-wise, but just as a football fan, Cincinnati and Arkansas. You know, of course, Luke Fickell, what he's done in Cincinnati, even made the college football playoff one year. And then you talk about Arkansas. Arkansas is kind of like they're the Tennessee of the SEC West. Their fans are crazy. They're crazy. You would think they would be historically a lot more successful than what they are because of the way their fans act. And I know Tennessee has been successful. They're an old blue blood. I wouldn't consider them that now, but they used to be. Arkansas has a lot coming back. A lot of people have them high up in the polls. Cincinnati, they've proven. Look, they went to Notre Dame last year and won. Cincinnati did. I like Arkansas in the game though, and I'm call me an SEC homer, whatever. Arkansas.
I am too. Well, I'm not going with Arkansas, but I am an SEC homer.
Yeah.
But KJ Jefferson led Arkansas in rushing and passing last year. Big, strong kid, very physical runner, but I don't think that's going to be enough. I think Cincinnati's going to come out of there with a win. I know
Cincinnati.
I'm going with Cincinnati in this one.
Now watch Coach over there. He'll pick Cincinnati too.
I'm going to follow his footsteps. Sure I am. Coach Fickell's going to have the guys ready. Cincinnati the last few years they've gone in some great places and won early, and they've stayed pretty steady football team. I think he's the changer. I mean, he changes the program around to fit his recruiting, and he's gotten a lot of good recruits in the last couple of years. I think Cincinnati's going to win a close one. It's going to be a close one, but I still think Cincinnati's going to come out there with the win.
Okay, I got Arkansas 2 Cincinnati. It's a game that we're going to run through just really quick, a game that should be taken care of. They came out as an original 21-point spread. The depth chart came out yesterday, and Rodriguez wasn't on it. That kind of brought the spread back down a little bit. Now I think it's at 16-5 and maybe even 17 at some spots, and Kentucky will host Miami, Ohio. And a couple of kids in this area are actually on that roster. I believe one's at Belfry. Played at Belfry. And, I expect Kentucky to take care of business. I don't think Miami, Ohio will have much for Will Levis. And, Rodriguez is not playing, but Smoke's pretty good. And another thing that I noticed on that depth chart, Dane Key's going to start.
Dane Key and Barry and Brown both will start.
Dane Key's going to start.
Wide receivers.
So give me Kentucky. I think that 16th point spread is actually kind of generous for Miami, Ohio. I'd put it more towards the 3 touchdowns, 21. I'm looking for it to be a 42-21 type of game.
I think it'll be close the first quarter or so, and then the SEC depth and size will just wear out, and speed will wear out Miami, Ohio, and I'm thinking 42-10, 42-14.
I'm in the same boat you guys. They're going to come out, and I think it's going to be a good game, maybe the first quarter. Might get away. It depends on Kentucky. If the Kentucky's got their rhythm down right off the bat, I don't see a challenge for Miami anywhere in the game other than those first few minutes. Size, strength, and then definitely the SEC speed that they have. 48-12, Kentucky.
Wow. The game that he's most interested in this weekend, Coach, of course, will be in his multi-million-dollar mansion up there on Indian Run. He's got a what has he got? What do you got? Man cave. He got a man cave there. It's all decorated in Buckeyes and Russell stuff. Notre Dame, biggest game of the weekend. Notre Dame and Ohio State. I'll go ahead and make my pick. I think Ohio State's too much, especially when you think of C.J. Stroud back there and that wide receiving core. I know they lost Wilson. I know they lost Olave, but Ohio State's one of those, they're kind of like Alabama when it comes to wide receivers. What's the next name you're going to hear about? Because they've got guys behind them who are probably just as good. Mm-hmm. So Ohio State, and I think they win by multiple scores.
I think the issue coming out with Notre Dame is going to be quarterback. They were real late in naming the starter, I believe, and he is going to be a new starter, and you're just not going to be C.J. Stroud and those guys in the horseshoe. I mean, you'd have to play you'd have to be, perfect, and Notre Dame's not going to play a perfect ball game.
You know who's really hoping Notre Dame wins? Marshall. You want to know why? Because Marshall goes there and plays next week. So Marshall's hoping that Notre Dame can't fit their head in the stadium. So Marshall can go up there and maybe sneak out a close game, a moral victory.
I'm surprised that Notre Dame is ranked as high as they are.
Well, that's the name. The name got the ranking.
The legacy of Notre Dame.
The name. Look at Texas.
7.
They lost to Kansas last year at home.
Their leading returning passer is threw for 298 yards this year.
Texas is ranked in top 15, and they lost to, let me repeat this, Kansas in football at home last year.
It's going to be interesting there in the shoe this week. Of course, I'm going to go with the Buckeyes. But the big thing is they're 17.5-point favorite, Coach. And, you got to look at it this way. There's going to be a lot of camaraderie, a lot of pregame getting back together, especially with Coach Freeman, for the new coach for Notre Dame Fighting Irish, a former Buckeye receiver. He's also got one of the great linebackers of all time, James Laurinaitis, linebacker coach there. They're going to be familiar with Ohio State. A lot of tradition there on both schools. Tremendous. You're looking at 7. I think it's 7 apiece Heisman Trophy winners out there. 7 apiece Heisman Trophy winners.
You know what? Why don't you just brag a little bit more over there about your Buckeyes?
Well, I'm boosting Notre Dame too. 7 Heisman's there, Coach.
Well, listen to him.
But the Buckeyes do have 3 candidates on the roster right now for a Heisman Trophy this year.
They do.
3 candidates.
Very talented roster.
Very talented.
I've heard people say that this might be the best roster that Ryan Day's had since he's been on Ohio State.
I agree with you. Got one of the best offensive lines, if not the best rated in the state right now in the United States as far as college football.
Best in the state. Did you hear that?
Yeah, best in the state. Got to get that in.
A little side note here. On Netflix, if you have not watched the Manti Te'o,
me and my girlfriend just watched.
You've
That's
got
so
to watch
sad.
That's an interesting thing.
But it really is. I feel sorry for the man.
I did too. But you know what? I didn't like Netflix doing Peyton, the guy that was the catfish, kind of the victim also.
Yes,
he was the criminal.
Well, what really hurt me for Te'o is that he was talking like it was still all true. Like it was still real.
Well, I tell you what, when I heard that guy make those women voices,
that's
how
scary.
did that happen?
That's scary.
I mean, that would have got me. Would it not gotten you guys?
Yeah.
They got the FBI. They were convinced that wasn't him.
It's a 2-parter.
Yeah, it's good.
In one night.
It's good.
Watch it.
It's good.
2 hours.
And speaking of that, I'm glad you said that. HBO's launching a documentary series
Yep.
about something that we might be a little familiar with here. Sean's actually the one who broke it. If you want to talk about it a little bit.
Bishop Sycamore.
Yep.
HBO will have a little documentary miniseries.
I can't wait for that to come out.
On Bishop Sycamore, and
I can't wait. I mean, they had like 35-year-old men on the field.
Yeah.
One of them dislocated their knee. I mean, they had guys out there older than me
playing
trying to
2
play.
games in 3 days or something like that.
Playing
That's
IMG
ridiculous.
Academy.
That's pretty bad. I mean,
Well, it is pretty bad. We got 3 more college games. Louisville and Syracuse. Make them quick.
Little
I'm going to go with Syracuse.
Syracuse, because I never will pick Louisville. Florida State, LSU.
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 Easy.
Easy.
hot seat for Mike Norvell.
But we'll see how Kelly comes out. New program. Brian
Well, they're
Kelly.
going to be fundamentally sound. No
But they're
matter
gonna-
what Kelly has done in the offseason at Notre Dame, and it's not just Kelly at Notre Dame that's done that. Notre Dame has been bad historically since what? When they went in '89? That was the last national championship team they had. They've been bad. I think they went through a stretch where they lost 9 straight bowl games at one time. Give me LSU, because I think the Kelly coach, this is his first year, I understand that, but there was talent on the roster when he got there.
Yeah.
LSU, easy.
Easy.
Probably the most interesting game besides, of course, Arkansas, Cincinnati, Utah. Guys, a lot of them have been top 5 right now. The Utes from Salt Lake City are going to make the trip down, and they're going to play in the humidity, something they're not used to, down at Big Hill Griffin Stadium in Gainesville. It's a night game in the swamp. They're not used to that. I know that this is going to sound crazy, and you're going to say I'm an LSU homer again. SEC homer. Give me the Gators.
Well, I would say that also, but I've just pulled up Utah here, and they got their quarterback and their number 1 quarterback is back.
Humidity.
Cameron Rising and Tavon Thomas, their leading rusher back. Almost 2,500 yards for Rising, 1,100 yards on the ground for Thomas.
You're going to go Utah.
I think I might go Utah, just to be a little different.
Okay.
You said it there, Spencer. It's in the swamp.
In the
If
swamp.
you've ever been to the swamp, the capacity of the crowd is right on top of you. And this quarterback from Utah is good, but he's going to have to deal with all these people screaming
Right on top of him.
And there's a place like, there's not too many places like Florida, to come in there and bring a team. I really think, like you said, the humidity, the heat. Utah's hot out there, but Florida's got a different type.
They're
of
different.
weather.
They got elevation.
Elevation type.
It's elevation.
Yeah, and humidity's a little bit different.
Right.
But I'm gonna say Florida's gonna pull it out in a close one.
Funny story is, back when Hal Mumme was the coach at Kentucky,
That's cool.
one of the trainers who was on that staff was actually a professor of mine at Russell, and he taught sports science and health. And I had him first period. He was telling us one time that Kentucky was close to beating them down there one time. And I believe it was when Couch was there.
Couch and Yeast.
Couch and Yeast were there. And
That was a heck of
there
a
was a
game.
bad call.
Yeah.
And I don't know what had happened, but according to him, that the Florida fans were throwing bottles onto the field on the Kentucky sideline. They were throwing bricks, different blunt objects, to the point where they had to take Kentucky, stop the game, and put them in the middle of the field. That's what we were told. Put them in the middle of the field for 5 or 6 minutes just so they could calm it down. So, go back to what you were saying.
Sounds a lot like
Florida-
a Tennessee game.
Yeah, Florida is like a bowl, and everything just comes right down on top of you.
Loudest place, one of the loudest places you'll ever play.
So I think that pays. I think Florida gets the win. But before we go any further, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, guys, we're going to break down high school football last week, and you're watching the Cool Hit Sports Network on Eastern Kentucky Athletics.
The award-winning florist All That Blooms has a new location, 402 East Main Street, across from Pritchard Elementary in Grayson, with gifts for all occasions including birthdays, sympathy, holidays, and anniversaries. Shop Monday and Tuesday 9 to 5, Wednesday 9 to 2, Thursday 9 to 5, and Saturday 9 to noon, closed on Sunday. Call 474-0390 for All That Blooms at 402 East Main, your full-service florist serving Grayson and surrounding areas. Check them out on Facebook, allthatblooms.com. That's BLOOMZ.
Here at Infusion Solutions, one of the things that we're most proud of is the relationship that we develop with our patients.
From the people on the phone to the delivery drivers, these people are a part of my life. They take care of me. I would recommend Infusion Solutions to anybody.
Discover what we're all about right now at Infusion Solutions.
Gillum Drug, 1237 Carter Avenue, Ashland, is a locally owned pharmacy devoted to providing excellent customer service, not found at the chain drug stores, and Gillum Drug will treat you like family. Stop by today and experience it. Gillum Drug, next to Domino's.
In the upcoming election, vote Eric Ross for Carter County Sheriff. Eric is an experienced police officer and a dedicated family man. With a 10-point plan, he will work to unite Carter County, increase community involvement, and improve the function and availability of the Sheriff's Department. With your support, we can make Carter County stronger together and a better place to live. Vote for Eric Ross for Carter County Sheriff. Paid for by candidate.
Hey, I'm Erin.
And I'm Michael. Come see us at Bowman's.
Jump into last week's games. I'm gonna go, and this is no order. We had a Pike County Bowls down there in Belfry, Coach, and this game was played on a Friday night. It got a late start. They had lightning delays. I was actually able to watch the majority of the game. Of course, Belfry dropped their first week to Pulaski County, but I got to watch them. They ended up winning 42-14. Dre Young, 174 on the ground. Caden Woolham, 111 yards rushing. Braxton Hatfield had 7 tackles. Dre Young had 7 tackles. And Blackwell had 7 tackles. I know that Bourbon County is one of those teams who they're hit or miss. They've got talent, I promise you. Belfry is still, right now, as of right now, the best team that I've seen in 3A in the East. I mean, they're very, 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 very good. That Dre Young guy, but when he gets the ball, you know how they do it, Coach. I mean, you ran the same offense down there in Johnson Central. When that little quick 22 handoff happens right there, I mean, he hits the hole harder than anybody that I've seen so far. I mean, and he's fast too. And when he hits it, he's in the next level before the linebackers can. He goes so fast that the linebackers are usually dragging him.
Sure.
And the secondary guys have to come up and make a play. 3 and 4 yards at a time will lead to 30 and 40 at a time.
Yeah, and then it's the ball control, and then it becomes consuming the clock time.
Yeah.
And they just, if they get up a touchdown or two, that's always Haywood. That's the same way Ivan was, and any of the wing T guys. Hey, they get up on you. They rely on to say they're going to run it. They're going to run it in between the tackles all night long on you. They don't have to throw it.
No, unless they have to.
Unless they have to, and they don't have to.
Very, very, very impressive with Belfry, and I know that you didn't get to watch that game, but right now, is Belfry your top team in 3A in the East?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
A game that we were mixed on, a game that, I'm gonna rub it in Sean's face a little bit because he bragged in the group about how his pick'ems were last week. A game that I grabbed from both of you. Ashland played Boyd County at home at Putnam Stadium, a place that Boyd County hadn't won at since 2003 or beaten Ashland in general since 2003. Ashland didn't look good in week 1. And when I said that, I said we didn't know exactly how good Raceland was at the time. We knew they were good. Don't get me wrong, we knew they were really good, but we didn't know how good they were. Ashland went on to win 22-8. LeBryant Strader, 7-14, 239, 2 touchdowns. Jennings, 93 yards, a touchdown. Isaiah Ingram added 10 tackles on defensive end.
Yeah.
It was a sloppy game on both ends. And truthfully, 2 of Ashland's touchdowns were really, really long plays. Of course, Boyd County scored there, and they had a chance to go down the field and make it. I think they could have tied it right there before half, and they fumbled. I believe that's if I remember what happened.
Yeah.
Boyd County just really struggled right there at the goal line. They ran a little bit of wildcat, I believe, with Holbrook Kid. Tried to sweep it off the right side. Ashland's defense got really aggressive there on the goal line, and Boyd County comes up short again. Nothing to hold your head if you're Boyd County though. The streak continues. Ashland will go on, and they got another tough game coming up this week, but they're going to go into the game 1-1.
Yeah, I was, I've said that Ashland's going to have to prove something to me before I pick them, and that's why I picked them. That's why I did not pick them last week. Strader was able to use his legs, unlike he was able to against Raceland. Had some nice long runs, and like I said, man, he's got a cannon for an arm.
He does.
Sure does.
And he hit Jordan in the second.
Nice ball. See, I mean,
he
threw
touchdown. That was a beautiful pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sure did. He threw Houston a 73-yard bomb and caught him right full stride.
Right.
And then he did the same thing with Terrell Jordan.
Yeah, sophomore.
Sophomore. At a 76-yard pass. And then, he also got down there, and Boyd County had a chance early in the game to stop him, and he came around and ran a 30-yard run right down the Boyd County sidelines. And I thought, wow, he showed some quickness and speed there, but he was the game changer here. And like you said, we picked Boyd, and Ashland came up to play. I think Boyd didn't come to play like they did last year. Ashland wanted to prove something. They proved it, and I tell you what, like I said last week, hate to be playing them later on in the year. I hate to be playing them next year for sure. They got a lot of talent.
I think we'll see more design quarterback runs from Ashland now.
I think so too.
I'm not sure if they even called them against Raceland, but you never know because the Raceland was in Strader's face all night.
Yeah.
But with Boyd County, he had a little bit extra time. He could read the defensive lineman. He could read that end and either give it, hand it off to Jennings, who had another really nice game, or keep it himself. So maybe we'll see some more variety out of the running game from Ashland.
A game that Mark Coach got right and me and you missed is a game down in Vanceburg. Bracken County came in and won 8-6. A little bit of stats on that game. Lewis's Austin Howard has 21 tackles so far this year, 227 yards rushing. He's their stud.
Yeah.
And they just came up a little. But Lewis County's defense, and I know Bracken's historically not great, and Morgan's historically not great, but Lewis County's defense has improved, Coach. So, a game that you guys missed also, and I got right. I had to throw that in there.
Got to throw that one in there.
This is the big one, the big miss right here. This is kind of like when I missed Morgan County week 1. East Carter went to Moorhead and just wiped Rowan County off the face of the earth. 34-0. Boggs, he had another 200-yard rushing effort.
Oh yeah.
419 through 2 games. The Yoke kid has 12 tackles. The Isaac Messer stud defensive tackle they got, he's got 14 tackles and 2 sacks so far. I think that East Carter has made that statement and to the whole area. Hey, we don't have Charlie Terry, we don't have Connor Goodman, and we don't have Kenyon Cozy. But guess what? We got a lot of guys who can play some good football, and we're going to compete and we're going to defend our district title. And I think they showed that down in Moorhead on Friday night.
Well, I'm not going to go against, like I told you earlier today, I'm not going to go against Coach Champ again. That was my mistake. He's a great guy, a great leader, a great religious man. this kid he has, this Boggs kid, 15 carries, 240 yards.
Yeah.
And he, what a game.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
It don't take a smart man to act.
But they're playing team football right now.
They are.
And that's something that you didn't see East Carter 4, 5, 6 years ago play.
Yeah.
What a change up there in Carter County. And I'm going to tell you, you couldn't do it with a finer coach and coaching staff. And I'm going to tell you right now, they impressed me. I mean, Round always has those good-looking athletes. Always think you're going to come out. I thought it was going to, it's a Round's year, but it was from the start to the finish. Just dominated the football game in all aspects.
And gang tackling, 11 heads to the ball. That's what East Carter did to them all single night. A game that, of course, our Cool Hits family was at. Had a little bit of problems out there with multiple things, not necessarily technologically. The cell tower went out. The whole cell tower went out. Listen, we're good. I'm pretty good. Cool Hits is pretty good. But even we can't come up with cell service by ourselves.
That's right.
So when the cell tower goes down, there's nothing really you can do. Fleming County went to the hill up there in Olive Hill. They come out. It was fairly, I don't want to say fairly easy, but they were never in danger of losing the game. Final was 25-7. Austin Trent for Fleming County, 191 on the ground, and that kind of was the nosebleed for West Carter. They just couldn't stop the whole night, and Fleming County goes to a 1-1 record. And I know you guys probably didn't do a whole lot of research on that game, so I'll just move on. Greenup County, the Musketeers, boys, are riding high right now.
Big win.
Big win over the Martin County Cardinals. Let me tell you something about this big win. Tyson Sammons only threw 8 passes. He completed 7 of them. And the one time they ain't completed it was a deep bomb. 7 of 8, 170 yards, 2 touchdowns. And now Greenup County, do I hesitate to say it, may have a 3-headed monster in the backfield with the Noble kid,
Sammons,
Anderson, and Sammons. They may have a 3-headed monster. Not only that, but they've got guys who can catch the football now. And they've got a big physical offensive line. Their defense is playing well. Coach, let me tell you something. Like you said, from the start to finish, Martin County was never in the game.
No.
They ran 38 offensive plays and scored 43 points.
Yep.
Wow.
And you wonder how many of those were just trying to milk the clock out at the end. That's just Greenup County, boys. I'm telling you, and when our polls come out, people are going to probably drag me through the mud. I'm telling you right now, from what I've seen, East Carter and Greenup might be the 2 best teams in that district.
Yeah, I think it will be.
I mean, it's an argument.
They're playing
from what we've seen from Russell and Ashland.
Could be. Really could.
There ain't a real good argument. You could say that they could beat East or Greenup right now.
I mean, Coach down there, he's putting the ball in the hands. Coach Moore's putting the ball in the hands of 3 different guys. Sammons, of course, is probably the better of the, I would think, of the 3. And then they got 3 good, decent receivers.
Yeah.
And, they throw a lot of quick stuff. They want to get the ball to the receiver and let him make the plays. But, hey, Greenup County's got a good fronts on both offensive and defensive side.
And they're not old, Coach.
And they're not, they're young guys, and they want to win. You can see a different attitude.
What you're seeing is the group of kids that went through and went and played the state championship in middle school a few years.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of times that don't translate, but when talent's this good, and when you got Tyson Sammons and that 3-headed monster with Noble and Henderson, it does translate. And we didn't get to see a lot of Ike last year because, he suffered a lower leg injury and was out a lot of the year. Kid's a stud. And Tyson Sammons is probably the best player in that district.
Well, you got Howard, Griffith, and Wyman, receivers.
Right.
And so,
they're pretty good, man.
They're putting the ball all over the place.
Yeah.
To be a defensive coordinator, you might have a fit when you get ready to play the Greenup County Musketeers.
Oh, I bet Lawrence County's coaches are going, what are we going to do this week? Well, anyways, quick on Johnson Central, 55-19 as a team, Coach, and I know you're going to get tickled over this, 448 yards rushing, 7 touchdowns as a team.
Yeah.
They had multiple guys that were over 100 yards rushing.
Yeah, they had the Carter Conley boy. He carried 13 times for 180 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's spectacular. Zach McCoat, he had 8 carries, 132 yards, a touchdown, and he had 1 reception for a touchdown. I think he had 35 yards for it and a touchdown. So they're displaying it around. Coach Peck ain't going to change nothing from what Coach
No,
Matt
and he's
did.
doing exactly what he needs to do.
Jesse's doing a great job. And again, I congratulate him. He's keeping that ball rolling. Them kids are still believing. They got a sharp defense. Man, them guys are getting the football, making plays, and it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting throughout the year.
Now, they play a game next week.
They play North Laurel fighting Reed Shepherds.
Yeah, we're going to get to that one here in a second. The Fighting Reed Shepherds. God.
What a name.
That's not their name, Coach. He's just being
I know.
You know what my favorite, besides the Greenwood Gators, you know
Yeah.
what my favorite one in the state is? Briar Jumpers.
Brian.
Somerset Briar Jumpers.
There you go.
You can't beat that.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, quick Paris over Bath, 57-12. Prestonsburg, 2-0. 2-0 down there. They're going, and listen, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to
I put
spoil
them in
it.
my top 10 this week.
I'm going to spoil it. They're going to go 3-0 because they got Phelps coming in.
Yeah.
They'll win that game too. 26-18 over McGoffin.
That'll be running clock.
Yeah, Shelby Valley. Whoa, this kind of caught me off guard a little bit.
30.
Shelby Valley hung 59 on Pike Central, 59-7. Russ Osborne really just, Russ Osborne did what Russ Osborne's best at doing, and that's he torched them through the air.
Yeah.
Raceland, boys, I was at that game Saturday night. They unveiled their new field, and Russell scored first, and they scored in a familiar fashion that all this area has feared all offseason. It was a long pass to Carson Patrick, went up and got it over top the Raceland defender and went 57 yards to the house. And I said, oh, God, here we go. And then Raceland really dug deep and just blew the doors off.
In every
Russell.
aspect of the game.
Yeah.
Ran a kickoff, didn't he run like a 97-yard kickoff back?
Oh, no, Russell did have a kick return.
Did.
Russell at the end of the game had the
97-yard.
Yeah.
You know what Russell's biggest problem is? They've got talent just about everywhere, but they don't have any depth.
Yeah.
They really don't have. It's tough for Russell. They got a lot of young, good kids, a lot of good talent, but they can't put them on the field because you don't want anybody to get hurt. Does that make sense? You can be good and have good talent, but if you're not ready, and especially putting them against a team like Raceland, who's really good,
Yeah.
you get somebody hurt. So, Russell just kind of had to play with it. And I will say this, I think part of the reason why the score looks like that, Russell's kids, they quit in the second half. And that might ruffle some feathers, but who cares?
I was really more impressed with Raceland's defense than I was their offense.
6 rushing yards for Russell.
Their defense flies around, ultra aggressive. I mean, gets pressure on the quarterback, play after play, and it's tough to play against a team that is basically punches you in the mouth, and knocks your lineman back and creates havoc.
Well, like I always said, defense wins championships.
They gave up
It's easy as
6
that.
yards rushing. And what did I say last week? I said the keys for Russell to win, they had to be able to run the football. That was it. They had to shorten the game, and they absolutely couldn't. They called a diamond look, and to me it's a pistol full house. They had 2 running backs right here, 1 behind him. They tried to mix that up, get Auburn involved. And it wasn't anything to do with the backs. It's nothing to do with the offensive line. Raceland's just really good defensively, man. And they've got a couple of 3 or 4 guys just on their defensive front who could be not only all area, but
were outstanding that game.
Do what now?
Their linebackers, I thought,
They
were
get the football.
outstanding.
They make plays.
you talk about the Jackson Heighton kid.
Yeah.
And the Webb kid.
Yeah. I mean, very, very impressed with Raceland in that win. Pikeville hosted Covington Catholic, which we talked a little bit about Notre Dame earlier. Covington Catholic's the home of Notre Dame's starting tight end, Mayer, who was, I believe he won Mr. Football a couple of years ago. Came up short. It's a 1-possession game there at the end. Pikeville scored. 27-19 was the final. But Covington Catholic's pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
So for Pikeville to play with them, just like when they played with Corbin, because a lot of people have Corbin. I know WYMT in the mountains has Corbin at number 1.
Yeah.
And Pikeville gave them everything they wanted. So I think Pikeville's really, really good again.
Yeah, really good.
Well, we'll get to that in a second. That is all of last week's games we're going to go over. When we come back, we'll tackle week number 3 here on the Eastern Kentucky Athletics Media Network and the Cool Hits Sports Network.
The award award-winning florist All That Blooms has a new location, 402 East Main Street across from Pritchard Elementary in Grayson, with gifts for all occasions including birthdays, sympathy, holidays, and anniversaries. Shop Monday and Tuesday 9 to 5, Wednesday 9 to 2, Thursday 9 to 5, and Saturday 9 to noon, closed on Sunday. Call 474-0390 for All That Blooms at 402 East Main, your full-service florist serving Grayson and surrounding areas. Check them out on Facebook, allthatblooms.com. That's BLOOMZ.
Here at Infusion Solutions, one of the things that we're most proud of is the relationship that we develop with our patients.
From the people on the phone to the delivery drivers, these people are a part of my life. They take care of me. I would recommend Infusion Solutions to anybody.
Discover what we're all about right now at Infusion Solutions.
Gillum Drug, 1237 Carter Avenue, Ashland, is a locally owned pharmacy devoted to providing excellent customer service, not found at the chain drugstores, and Gillum Drug will treat you like family. Stop by today and experience it. Gillum Drug, next to Domino's.
In the upcoming election, vote Eric Ross for Carter County Sheriff. Eric is an experienced police officer and a dedicated family man. With a 10-point plan, he will work to unite Carter County, increase community involvement, and improve the function and availability of the Sheriff's Department. With your support, we can make Carter County stronger together and a better place to live. Vote for Eric Ross for Carter County Sheriff. Paid for by candidate.
Hey, I'm Erin.
And I'm Michael. Come see us at Bowman's.
And before we get into next week's games, what was it, about Sunday evening or Saturday? I said, no, Sunday evening. I said, guys, I want all the rankings. Give me your rankings. I never showed any of you guys each rankings. Nobody knows what my rankings were. Nobody knows what, until now. We're going to reveal it to everybody at the same time, including you guys. So if we get that graphic up, this is our rankings, our first rankings. We're not going to put rankings out after week one. We want to feel comfortable, at least have to validate where we have these teams. And Sean, you want to talk about your top 10 first?
Well, I think the top four there are in Johnson Central, Raceland, Pikeville, and Belfry. The Belfry and Pikeville are notches above the rest of it. There's about that bottom six, and then about three or four other teams. Greenock, Ashland, East, Brown, Fleming, Lawrence, Russell, a couple other teams. You could throw all those teams in a hat, and they would be the same.
Yeah.
You know, so, but those top four on mine are head and shoulders above the rest of it. And we were talking earlier how interesting it would be to see a Johnson Central Raceland game. Maybe, that might happen down the line in a couple of years. So,
Well, and Mike, Coach, you want to talk a little bit about your rankings?
Yeah, I'm with Coach right there. I said, I got JC, Raceland, Pikeville, and Belfry the top 4. And, JC's also ranked in other polls in the top all categories, around there. I think I got them around 6 or somewhere around there. And, they're showing, there's a lot of talent in those 4 teams, a lot of strength on the field. Right now, they're a little bit ahead above everybody. But what's interesting, I can't knock Coach Champ out. I got them sitting in there at 5 and Greenup right following them. Those are 2 teams. Like I said, it's going to be a dogfight in that district between, East, Greenup, Russell, and Ashland. Then I've got, after Greenup County, I've got Ashland, Russell, Boyd, and Prestonsburg in my, my top 10.
The Black Cats are making an appearance in Coach's poll.
Yeah, and I'm excited. It's going to be interesting. In 3 weeks, 4, when we do this again, it's going to be interesting who can hold these places and who's going to come to play and who's going to come to stay.
For me, and I know that I'm going to get dragged for saying this, I think if anybody could potentially hold Johnson Central's offense, it's Raceland's defensive front. I think they're that good up front on defense that they could give Johnson Central some serious trouble.
And we're not going to get to see that one.
We're not going to get to see it, not this year. But for those reasons, and I'll be honest with you,
we need to lobby for those 2 teams to get together in the next.
I'm telling you, boys, and I know Raceland's just that 1A school. I'm telling you right now, Raceland's front 7 could absolutely go toe-to-toe with Johnson Central's front. 100%. And I think, I'd go out on a limb, I think Johnson Central would have to pass a little bit.
Could possibly happen.
I do think that. But the one thing that I noticed out of all of our polls, the 1 or 2, you could flip-flop that, and there's validation for it.
Yeah.
We all got Greenup high in our polls.
Yeah.
Greenup County, they're grabbing the attention. And like I said, look at my poll. You got Greenup, East Ashland, Lawrence, and Russell right there.
Yeah.
What did we say in the offseason? We said that district, you pull a name out of a hat, and that would be your champion.
Yeah.
They are that close together, and if anything, so far, all 3 teams besides Russell has shown more. Right now, if I had to put power rankings, Russell would be the 4th best team in that district.
Sure.
Just from what we've seen, I mean, that's no secret.
That's about as even a district as I can ever remember seeing.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, and you got Prestonsburg right there. We're going to talk about them actually because they are. I'd like to know the last time Prestonsburg was 3-0, and I guarantee you that
it goes back to probably, I would say,
mid 2000s,
early
Peak was there
coaching them.
Yeah, I'm sure. We'll go ahead and jump into next week's games. The first couple are probably fairly simple for us, and of course Wheelersburg is going to come down to Russell. Russell's really the depth problem, and just Russell. Let me say this: Russell is going to end up being a pretty good team.
Yeah.
They have, and you see it, in bits and pieces. But when the first thing that goes wrong on the field, they want to buckle up and quit.
Yeah.
Because if you go back and watch that Raceland game, if Russell scores down there and they don't throw an interception, it's 14-0, and you don't know what happens.
Sure.
Raceland takes the ball, they go 97 yards, and it was like it was nothing. On a screen pass, it was right down the field, and it was nothing. The first thing that goes wrong, Russell wants to quit. And those kids come over to the house all the time, and listen, my girlfriend tell you, I'm blunt honest with them. I'm not going to, this is not sugarcoat hour. You're not going to come over here and hear something that's, I just want you want to hear. You're going to hear what it is. And I can tell you right now, in the second half against Raceland, Russell quit.
Yeah.
They quit.
Laid an egg.
So, Wheelersburg's too much. Wheelersburg.
Yeah. You're not going over there to.
No, it's at home. It's at Russell.
It's at Russell.
Even so, I mean, Wheelersburg's going to control that game.
Russell will be good, but not yet.
Yeah.
Wheelersburg.
Wheelersburg always. I'm going to tell you something, and this is something you got to look around here too, because Ashland's got them coming, and both these, and then same district. Here we go, the district that we're looking at.
And that'll probably be a loss for Ashland too.
Wheelersburg, not very big,
no,
but very quick, and kind of remind you of a race on Rams defensive right
That
now.
is perfect example.
They get to the
Perfect
football.
example,
And
yeah.
Ironton and over there, Ironton and Wheelersburg right now have defenses.
Yeah,
they
and
they're struggling a little on offensive side with the fronts, trying to get them linemen going right now. But defensively, sound Wheelersburg team.
Wheelersburg and Raceland, I'm glad you said that, actually scrimmaged, and they ended in a tie.
Yeah.
So, Wheelersburg every bit took Ironton to what? And it took an Ironton kick return to win the game,
12-3.
didn't it?
Yeah, it was. What's the final? 12-3.
Yeah, Ironton had to kick. The only touchdown of the game was what, a kick return.
Yeah, I mean, Coach us being Russell alumni and stuff and everything, and I hate saying this, but Berg could beat them not only at
They can beat them in
Coach Alvin
Westwood.
Long Field.
Yeah.
They can beat them over at Ed Miller
There's no
Stadium.
knock.
They
Russell
can
will
beat
end
them
up
on
being
any field this year.
Russell will end up being just fine.
Yeah, they'll be
it's
fine.
not going to happen yet.
But it is going to be the Berg's night.
Yeah, it'll be Wheelersburg. Estill County, East Carter cruises, running clock. Easy.
Very big. Yeah.
Yeah.
Coach Champ's going to turn it on. He's going to just take another win. That's just the way it is.
East Carter easy. East Carter easy.
East Carter easy.
Lewis County goes to Boyd. Lewis County, we talked before the show and a little bit during the break. Lewis County is getting better defensively, guys. Especially when you talk about some of the guys that they've got. They've got guys. They've got athletes. Lewis County's getting better. They're going to go and play Boyd County. I think Boyd's too much for them. Give me Boyd County.
I think Boyd's going to come back off. It was a frustrating week last week for them. I know they had better expectations, but I think they're going to put a lot of points on the board this
Boyd
week.
County. Boys, a game that you probably don't know a whole lot about, but East Ridge is going to go play Betsy Lane. Betsy Lane, come off a good win Friday night. And East Ridge is one of those teams, they're just kind of over there. You're not really sure what they have year to year. Sometimes they're as bad, and sometimes they've got pretty good teams. This year they're not that bad. I expect this to be actually a pretty good game. Where it's at, Betsy Lane, give me Betsy Lane.
I went with East Ridge in this one.
East Ridge?
I'm going with East Ridge too.
East Ridge, okay. Nicholas County's going to go play football down here in Westwood. Nicholas County, of course, they had a coach who was a gym teacher there at the high school. Really great guy that I became friends with. Ended up passing away. I think he had a brain tumor. Do you remember that when Nicholas County's coach? I'm not sure he was their football coach, but I think he was their basketball coach.
Ben Pumphrey.
He was their basketball coach. And one thing about Nicholas County, if you're there, they got a restaurant at the bottom of the hill called Tracks. Do you remember Tracks?
Yeah.
Do you remember? You know what I'm talking about? You go in the restaurant, and the whole inside of the restaurant is railroad tracks, and they got a remote control train that goes around the restaurant while you're sitting there eating. I think Nicholas County be a little too much for Fairview this week. Fairview really just didn't look good against Pineville. Give me Nicholas County.
I'm going to go with you, Coach. Same thing. Nicholas County. It's there. I'm going to give them the advantage there. You're traveling all the way, and until Fairview gets something going, it's hard to pick them. I mean, they've got to establish some kind of offense, some kind of defense. They got to get out here and improve themselves a little bit.
Well, I'll tell you what hurts
it's going to be a
them.
tough year for the Eagles.
Numbers.
You've got to have some. Yeah, I agree with you.
It's not anything to do with the coaching. They have good coaching there. I know they have good coaching because I know they're.
And they got a couple good, nice kids.
They got a couple kids that play anywhere.
Yeah.
But when other teams are able to bring in kids off the bench,
it's tough
and put in quality minutes. And I'm not saying Fairview doesn't have that, but they don't have that at every position. You couldn't when you only have 35 kids on the team.
What, Fairview probably plays 8, 9 kids both ways.
Oh,
maybe all of them.
I guarantee all of them.
Okay, you're going to wear down by the time fourth quarter comes.
Well, I can say that personally because I played both ways my junior and senior year, and I can tell you at the end of the game I was done. So Nicholas County all around. Martin County's going to go play at Flemingsburg. Martin County really just they got whooped pretty bad. They're going to play the team that got beat by them in week 1 down at KCU by Greenup. They're going to go and play Martin County at Fleming. Martin County, I don't know if they just had a really bad game. I thought, going into the season, I thought Lawrence County was going to have a really good running game, which they still do. I thought their linebacker play was going to be really good. But Greenup County just did whatever and whenever they wanted to against Martin County on Friday night. And for that reason, and especially with the way Fleming County stormed back against them, give me Fleming County against Martin.
I'm going to go with Fleming County also. I just pulled up. I was curious to see how long the drive it was from Inez to Flemingsburg. And it's going to be about a 2 hour and 15, 2 hour and 20 minute bus ride.
That's just short of going to the Mountain Parkway. So if you hit the Mountain Parkway, you come out right there at Winchester, wasn't it?
No, well, this is it's got some convoluted way.
Unless they come over, what is it, Moorhead?
I mean, it would be it's the same time.
It's
either way you want to go, it's going to be a 2 hour trip.
Right. Yeah, anyway.
It's almost like when Bath County has to play Shelby Valley at a district game. I mean, either way, one team's driving 3 hours at least. You know, when you're coming from the middle of Bath County and you've got to go all the way to the end of Pikeville and play, you're on the bus. You're leaving at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
Yeah, easy. So, Coach, are you going to go Fleming also?
I'm going Fleming also.
Okay, so Fleming all around. Ashland's going to go play George Washington. I believe George Washington's in Charleston.
Yes.
George Washington is one of those teams in AAA that they let me tell you something, boys. They've beaten Huntington High. They've beaten Capital. They've beaten Spring Valley.
They beat Cabell Midland first game.
They beat Cabell Midland first game of the season.
Yeah, Cabell Midland
looks good. Looks strong.
Ashland's going to go to Charleston, and they are going to get whipped. I just think George Washington's way too much, way too many weapons on the outside.
Got a lot of speed, quickness on that team.
Let me say this. Any team around here that went to George Washington would probably get whipped. But especially an Ashland team that's really trying to get their footing.
Yeah.
Like we said, they have talent, but not that talent. Give me George Washington.
They have a lot of great defensive backs compared to George Washington right now. They got a lot of good running backs. They got a lot of kids back from that last year program. And
how big of a school do you think George Washington is? They got, if they were in Kentucky, it'd be 6A probably. Or 5A.
5A at least.
Yeah.
And I just think they got a lot more athletes on the field than Ashland does right now at this point. But here again, if Strader can get out there and get comfortable and connect on a few, might make it a ball game. But I still think it's going to be.
I wouldn't say run a clock or anything like that.
No, it's going to be a good close game.
I say if I had to put a spread on it, 17-20, 17-20 points somewhere in there. I think that's fair, don't you? So
they got about just over 1,100 students.
1,100, so the same size John Central.
12.
Same size John Central. 1,100.
I think it's going to be
notable alumni.
I think it's going to be a closer game than I'm going to go with George Rogers, but I still think it's going to be George Washington. I know I said George Washington, but it's going to be a closer game than you guys think. I think it's
notable alumni.
Jennifer Garner.
Yeah. The fighting Jennifer Garners.
Yeah.
And now Ashland, if you want to be technical about it, probably since they've started the series, probably has the lead in the series. I think Ashland's beaten them probably.
I think it's about tied. I think it's 2-2 or it's very even.
Was it Swisher the one that Brian Switzer with a hit? That's the last time. Yeah, they won.
A game that's going to be in Paintsville, but it ain't going to be a game for long. And I could be wrong here, but Pikeville's going to come up and play Paintsville. That's a district. No, excuse me. That's not a district game. That is a rivalry game between. Sure. You look at the big three in Eastern Kentucky: Pikeville, Raceland, Paintsville. But Paintsville's really just not what they usually are. I don't think Harris Phelps makes enough plays. Pikeville, easy.
But yeah, it'll be a long haul for Paintsville on this one.
In the past, you always hear, especially the Pikeville Paintsville game, the Pikeville Raceland game, the Paintsville Raceland game. There's always usually people want to say a bad call that cost the ball game and stuff. This ain't even going to be a close game.
Yeah.
This is going to be by far a blowout. Pikeville come into Paintsville and just too much talent.
Yeah. Floyd Central goes to Shelby Valley really quick. Shelby Valley easy.
Yes.
Shelby Valley. Easy. Shelby Valley. Rowling at Raceland, boys. Let me tell you something. They may have to change the rating on the TV for this one. It's not going to be PG TV. It's going to be PG-13. That's how bad I think Rowland's going to get beat. Give me Raceland by as many as they want.
You'll get no disagreement with them.
Running clock first half.
Raceland as much as they want.
Yeah, running clock first half.
Coach, you got Prestonsburg in your top 10. And speaking of Prestonsburg, they're going to play Phelps, a team that, of course, they haven't really had a real good team since David Jones was there and since Andy West was there.
Yeah.
Both those guys were pretty good coaches. Phelps struggles with a lot with what Fairview struggles with. They don't have the numbers. So they're going to
show. It'll show Friday night.
I think it will too. And this game's actually in Phelps. Prestonsburg's going to make the trip down there, which is a long drive from Prestonsburg. Give me the Black Cats. I think that the Prestonsburg is just too much. They got a lot of depth, and they got some kids that can play.
Oh, yeah.
Prestonsburg.
Prestonsburg big.
You were wondering about the last time Prestonsburg started 3-0. Have not started 3-0 since 2009, the year they went to the state finals and got beat by DeSales.
Sales, yeah.
They were undefeated going in and got beat 33-28 to DeSales.
Prestonsburg's always, like I said, when I played, Prestonsburg was a powerhouse.
Oh, yeah.
Now, they may not have the state championships to reflect it, but they're one of those teams, they're kind of like a Lawrence County, just a little bit further south. Lawrence County, they've always been tough. You've never played a really bad Lawrence County team.
No.
But they may not have the state titles to reflect that, but, what schools do besides Ashland and Russell around here.
Yeah.
So, Prestonsburg all around. Morgan County, Jackson County. Give me Jackson County.
Jackson County. Just because, again, don't know too much about them. I'm picking a home team.
And the way that Morgan looked against Lewis, I'd pick just about anybody against them.
Yeah.
And nothing against Morgan County, but you've got to, I know those kids, they've got to be better than that. I'm not saying Lewis County's not very much improved, but you don't get beat 42-14 by anybody, especially Lewis County. Give me Jackson County.
Jackson County, no doubt.
Now, this
Morgan
is a game
County's guys show
that's
nothing, yeah.
split between us here a little bit. Powell goes to Bath County. Sean has Bath County in this game. I'm going against him. I'm going to go Powell County, and it's just because of the way Bath County's played the last couple of weeks. And I'll tell you another key factor in that. Bath County doesn't have an offensive or defensive coordinator. I think the head coach is acting as all three, which, Coach, you've been a coach for how long? How tough is that?
That's tough. That's tough to do. That's like when I go back into talking to Jesse when he came over first to Johnson Central. Coach Peck, he was at Phelps coaching there. He said, I was the offensive coach. I was the defensive coach. He said, at halftime I went and sold drinks in the concession stand. All seriousness, he said, I done it all. I was the field guy. I drove the bus.
He was the MVC, most versatile coach.
I mean, you look at some of these schools and things. Some of these people do, but I'm like you. That's a tough pick right there, because Bath has not showed us really much.
Man, I'm not even sure. Listen, I haven't even felt a heartbeat out of Bath County in a while. Give me Powell. Give me Powell.
I'm gonna go with you, Coach. Powell County.
Well, like I said, I'm going Bath. Bath has won the last 4 against them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that includes a 1-0 last year COVID win, but they
scored a goal.
They scored a goal.
Yeah.
But
and we'll
the
probably
last 3 before that, they seemed like they one close game. Other than that, they handled them pretty good.
Last game, Knott County Central, McGoffin. McGoffin's one of those teams where, guys, I've seen McGoffin play. They've got some really, really good athletes. Knott County Central, they're one of those teams that sometimes are really good, sometimes they're really bad. In this case, I am going to pick Knott County Central over McGoffin. Give me Knott County Central.
Same here.
Same here.
You left out a game.
Huh?
You left out what I thought was going to be the best game of the week.
Johnson Central.
No.
What are you talking about?
Gwinnett County and Lawrence County.
Did I skip over that game? I got it written down here. Oh, okay.
I think that's the best game of the week.
Well, that's game of the week. Guys, you've got Lawrence County, who had a bye week in week 2. Of course, week 1, they blanked Harrison County. I believe scored something 39-0, 36-0, something like that. And you've got Grant County, who had Fleming County down 34-7 at the half, and then blew the doors off Barton County. Both of the Greenup and Lawrence, in my opinion, are top 10 teams in 3A. Greenup County's going to go to Louisa. Tough place to play.
Yeah, it's tough.
The crowd really gets into it. Lawrence County's a really, really tough place to play, especially in a big game like this. But guess what? Greenup travels well. Give me Greenup. I'm going Greenup. I'm riding the Greenup County train. The Muskies go to Louisa and they win again.
Yeah, Lawrence County beat them 34-7 last year up here at Greenup. It's a different Greenup team, but I think Lawrence County still wins, but it'll be closer this time. I'm going to say it'll be 35-21. 35-24, something along that.
Greenup County. Lawrence County.
Lawrence
what do you
County.
think?
Yeah, Lawrence County.
I'm gonna go with Greenup County. I think Greenup County's gonna go in there and steal one from them. It's gonna be a close one. I'm gonna go 21-20. Greenup County Musketeers.
Greenup, Lawrence.
And we did leave out.
Johnson Central and North Laurel.
Yeah.
Listen, Johnson Central by as much as they want.
Yes. Run the clock. 3rd quarter.
Now, if, like Sean said, if Reed Shepherd decided to come out and play quarterback, we may have to reassess our spread.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't care if he comes out or not. I just the defense.
I'm glad you said that.
Because
no matter who they're playing, the only team that you'd pick Johnson Central against would if they're playing Ohio State. And
That could be
John
close.
Central could
No,
play.
I've just
They
given
would
you-
play.
I've
Hey,
just given you a
listen,
heads up.
they would play Frederick Douglass, and you'd say, I don't know. I think the Johnson Central.
Johnson Central's playing really dynamic up front on the front defensive line, and their linebackers are, they've got. You got to remember they replaced their linebackers this year. They lost both,
and they lost their right tackle and Grant Bingham.
And I'm telling you what, they've just not slowed down. They picked it up, and they're getting the ball very well, and they're making big plays. They kind of reminded me, like you said, the way Raceland playing, the way Willersburg plays, the way Ironton plays on defense. That's the way they play defense.
You want to talk about a game in a couple
That's
of weeks.
That's going to be tough.
When Johnson Central goes over to Tank Stadium.
Tank Stadium.
At a place they've been historically successful at.
I was there the last time we played them.
Yeah, and I think they whooped Ironton bad.
We scored 68 points to their 12, and we had about 60-yard penalties. Still yet, and when you go over and you can beat a team
that was probably just in the first quarter.
Yeah, and I'll never forget that because the Pack kid we had, the kickoff guy.
61-yard field goal was state record, wasn't it?
No, he did that against Greenup, but he opened the kickoff going towards the band.
The $1 Million Band.
Yeah, went over the band, over the fence, and in the church parking lot on the opening kickoff, and that quietened Tank Stadium down quite a bit. That quietened anybody down, but it was no close game. And I don't think Tank Stadium and Ironton's going to intimidate Johnson Central.
No, wait a minute now. Don't pick that game yet.
I just don't think they will.
Listen, if it was actually the Ironton Tanks, he would pick Johnson Central too, though. So what is the?
There's a lot of old guys on that Ironton Tanks football team.
That's all the time we have this week for the Goofy Show. I'm Spencer Hutchinson, Sean Hutchinson, Coach Mark Salyers. This has been a presentation of Eastern Kentucky Athletics and the Cool Hits Sports Network.